In this introduction video, I detail the tools associated with the most basic mesh in Unreal. I will show you how to reshape the object before creating it, how to save the static mesh, how to change the subdivisions, and more. This video is part of a complete course I am preparing about modeling with Unreal 5. No Maya or Blender needed. To get a discount coupon on release week, visit woolen.com and subscribe free. Only our subscribers will receive a coupon code by email on launch day. You can also check our most recent course of MetaHumans in Unreal 5 and discover one of the most powerful tools Unreal offers today to create realistic characters for video games and cinematic productions. Finally, please don't forget to give a like, subscribe, and a comment to this video. More content is on its way. If you want me to talk about a specific subject in Unreal, please leave it in a comment. I'll do my best to cover it in the future. Let's get started. For this next section, we are going to start working with the modeling tool in Unreal. So first of all, I'm going to create a new level and select the basic. In the basic, as you can see, we only have this platform, which is this floor, and it is a static mesh actor associated to a static mesh. Now, instead of using the selection mode, we are going to select the modeling tool. In the modeling tool, you have several options that we are going to cover throughout this entire course. We're going to start with one of the first basic things we are going to do here, which is the box. To use the box, I will select box. And as soon as you get into the viewport, you can see that you have this small box for the scene. I am going to change the snapping instead to 100 to 50, which is half meter. So I can be exactly over one of the squares on the floor, on the static mesh that it is by default. Let me click and get closer. And let's start exploring what you can do with this object. The first thing you can do is to translate the object in any position. And as you move the object, you can see here how the delta position is moving in different directions. So you can do it, of course, in all coordinates. The other thing you can do is rotate the object. In this one, if you have the snapping for the translation, you're going to translate by 50s in this case, or 45 degrees in case that you are rotating the object. When you're working with the modeling tools, adding geometries like this one, you can't use these selections, these other options in this menu. You can only use the ones that are presented here. Now, if you want to scale this object before accepting it, you can select the different dimensions for width, depth, or height. In this case, all dimensions are exactly 1 meter, which is 100, 100, and 100. For this moment, let's accept this object just as it is by default. Accept. Once you accept the creation of this object, there are some limitations. You can, at this moment, say that I want to change the scale, for example, using these variables. That's totally possible. But if you wish to change the geometry of the object and create more, let's say, edges, faces, vertices, that's something that you cannot do at this moment. This is a process that we're going to cover later on in this course, but at this moment, you can do it. Now, at the moment that you create this object, you can see that a static mesh actor is added to the scene. And now, if you check this static mesh actor and try to find it here, here is where, by default, this static mesh actor will be located. And now, you can add as many as you wish, following this same static mesh. To remove the object that you just created, well, first you can find the static mesh, and in this case, right-click and delete. And of course, it's going to tell you if you use this static mesh in other places, you're going to lose this object. Force delete, I can't force it. And now you can see that it is not in the content browser, it is not in the viewport, but it is still here in the outliner. It is like an empty mesh. So I want to delete this one as well. And you can find and edit and delete, or you can just delete with the key. Now, let's say I want to create a new box. and I'm going to place it here. And in this case, I'm going to change some proportions. So First of all, with the width, I'm going to select 200. And for the height, I'm going to select 400, which is 4 meters high, and 200 is going to be width, which is 2 meters. So in this case, I am creating a different geometry. Now, let's talk about the subdivisions. We have subdivisions for width, depth, and height. Let me take this basic case and accept. As soon as I accept, I can check the attributes of this static mesh that I created. So selecting the object, I click over attributes, and in attributes, inspect. And as you can see at this moment, we have basically one face for every section of the one geometry for every face of this object. What I mean by that is, if you have let's say a square, a plane in geometry for any mesh, this square is going to be divided into 2 triangles, which are these 2 that you can see here. And here you have 2 as well. But in fact, what you have is just one big element that is going to define this entire face for every section of this object. Now, let me complete here. Let me add a new object, just like this one. Create box. I'm going to put it besides. And now let's say I want to add a bit more subdivisions for this object. Let's say that I want to add 4, 4, and 4. And now I am going to accept. First of all, you will see that this box has a static mesh that is different to this static mesh. And if you find it here in the content browser, you will see they look exactly the same, but they are pointing to 2 different static meshes. Now, let's inspect this second mesh that we created. Attributes, inspect, and now you can see that this geometry adds more elements. In this one, we just have one big face here with 2 triangles. In this case, we have 4, 4, 4, and 4, the same for this side, and the same for this side. So we are adding more geometry for this particular object. When do we need to add more geometry? Well, in case that you want to transform or to, let's say, bend this object, that's the case where you are going to need more geometry. Don't worry, we're going to cover that very soon. Now, what are the other parameters that we should know here when creating boxes? Let me create a new one. I'm going to place it here. Every time that you create a new box, it's going to take by default the values of the last one that you created, which, believe me, is pretty useful. I have to tell you, it is really, really useful. Now, other elements that could be interesting are going to be, for example, the align to normal. So align to normal in this case means that this object, when it's created, if you have a surface, let's say like a mountain, and you try to place the object over the normal, then it's going to bend a little bit over that surface. Show gizmo is the reference for you to have the possibilities of switch of moving the object in different positions or in different rotation. And this, I have to tell you, are the most important elements for me while I'm working with creating boxes. The other thing is that you don't have necessarily to go to the attributes to see how this geometry, that this final geometry of the object is going to look. Here you can quickly inspect how this is going to look. In fact, let me move these values. Let's say 6, 6, and 6. Now you can see immediately how this geometry will be changed. At this moment, I am going to move this just to 6, 6, and 6 and accept. As in the other 2 cases, you can see that now we have a new static mesh with a new code. You can change the code, by the way. You can change the name of these static meshes in case that you want to make it more clear for you. In this case, we're going to leave them as they are at this moment. Thanks for watching this video and supporting this channel during the last few years. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with a question or a request for a new video content. And finally, remember to subscribe to Woolen.com to get the big discounts coupons for our courses. I'll see you soon.